you've been the integral part of the government in first 10 months of the current financial year. How are you seeing this budget, and is there any hit or misses? What's your take on overall, outcome?
So I think it's a very good budget, and the FM has tried to balance the fiscal prudence on the one hand, and also taken care of growth while taking care of all sections of the society. So I think it's a balanced budget, and I don't think anybody can say that it's a popular budget in the sense that it is catering to the electoral politics. So that's a very good thing in this budget, which I feel the FM deserves a praise for.
Everybody is saying that, being the last full budget before election, government tried to sort of balance it out. You think the tax soaps which has been announced, especially the tweaking in the personal income tax regime, has been done to sort of just to see people reaction, and to make things in a way that give some sort of message that it's a populist budget?
I don't think so. That's a fair comment to make on the tweaking on the personal income tax. If you recall, there has been a long debate in the media, and it actually reached a crescendo just before the budget, where everybody was asking why people are not shifting to the new regime, and why the new regime is not getting the traction that the government had actually wished for. So there were some arbitrages between the new regime and the old regime, and this particular step, which is a very bold step on revenues front, I would say has tried to address that. And you will notice that a large number of people will get a relief. They will move to the new tax regime. But one cannot say that this is something like a tax swap for an election. It is actually a very pragmatic and a very sensible step that was waiting to be taken.
So FM during, in fact, the post-budget speech said that nobody being forced to shift to the new IT regime. Do you have a different view?
So right now, what the government is saying, that they will give an option of you to remain in the old regime or come into the new regime. The default regime is the new regime, which I understand that once you go to the portal, you'll be fixed in the new regime unless you choose the old regime. So nobody is being forced, but point is that if I have to pay less tax in the new regime than what I'm paying in the old tax regime, I'll automatically come into the new tax regime. And I personally feel that a majority of the taxpayers' population will come into the new regime.
Of course, speaking on the numbers, I wanted to ask you specifically that, government this time has taken same growth in tax collection as GDP. So won't there be any buoyancy due to higher GDP? And in case yes, tax collection may grow higher than budgeted, na?
So I'll say, if you say that they've taken a tax buoyancy of one, they've also taken a tax buoyancy of one because of the external headwinds that are on the way. So if the West, especially Europe, is facing some kind of a recession, and America also, the growth rate is lower. So it'll definitely impact the Indian industry also. So to that, keeping that into view, it's better to be cautious and to err on the caution rather than repent later. Say if the buoyancy instead of 1 comes out to 1.2. So 1.2 would give you another maybe 60,000 crores, if 30 lakh crores is the GDP. So 60,000 crores is something which either will get absorbed in the demand for grants for various ministries, or if something is left out, the economists can be made happy if the fiscal deficit goes down even lower than 5.9 to say 5.8 or something like that. And that's a pathway to the fiscal consolidation.
As we can see, sir, a lot of global, headwinds are coming, and there are fears of having a global recession. You think India is prepared for that? And of course, a budget has come out with a roadmap, but overall, if you could tell us that you see any effect, these factors would affect the country, overall.
So the first thing that I like to say, in the current year also, our growth rate is going to be one of the highest in the major economies. So, in spite of the global headwinds that are coming in from all directions, we have been able to do a good job. And I see no reason why this would not continue in the coming year also, especially that the government has given a very balanced budget, and the emphasis is again on capex, and also not only capex but the quality of expenditure that is there. That the large part of the fiscal deficit or the borrowing will be used for capital expenditure rather than revenue expenditure. As a percentage, revenue expenditure is also coming down. So I think while there are some certain risks that are there, but I think with a 10.5 estimate of the GDP, which is lower than what is there for the current year, I think we should be home, and again, we should be able to do far better than the other countries. And even if there are some issues, as was mentioned by one of the secretaries in the press conference yesterday, there's enough cushion both on the expenditure and revenue side to take care of those exigencies. And if there's a need for more expenditure in a particular area, I think the government will be able to manage that.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.